music fans, Steve the Salt Magazine here. Got a bunch of music to show you this time that I've picked up all locally for anywhere from I think 12 cents to a couple of them were $1. Got a bunch of music to show you this time, so I'm going to try to run through it pretty quick. This week I'm drinking some Cheerwine. Very cherry pop. Since a lot of this music is hovering around pop music, appropriate. Legendary cherry since 1917. I like that. Cheerwine. First record I got for you is by Funkannection. This is great funk. Much like P-Funk, Parliament, P-Funk All-Stars, yet more the dance than for the trip. They're not trying to freak you out. They're just trying to give you a good time. At midnight, makes use of all the stereo effects. They put it well on Saturday night. I couldn't feel better if I were riding on the mothership. Funkannection. Procol Harum. The concert with Edmonton Symphony Orchestra and Da Camera singers. Known for Whiter Shade of Pale. That is not on here, but Conquistador is. Rock and putting rock with an orchestra was kind of a big deal in 1978. People loved it. It went over so well. It was the first of its kind to go gold and then platinum. Stuff it. Not what I had hoped for based on the cover. It's definitely not basketball music. It's some session musicians basically just making some 78 music for 1978. You know, what you would think music would sound like, kind of poppy music or leaning towards disco or whatever. In 1978, some session musicians got together and called themselves stuff, and it's alright, I guess. Michael O'Mardian. The musical journey of Michael and Stormy O'Mardian. Now, you may not know that name, but this couple have been real busy in their 38 years together. Stormy has written a lot of books, like dozens of books, sold millions of copies. Prayer of a Praying Wife, Husband, something like that. You might know her from that. But Michael O'Mardian has played on, produced, and arranged keyboards for every stinking pop music, rock music artist out there. You name it. Billy Joel, Rod Stewart, Donna Summer, Steely Dan, Eric Clapton. Massive list of people he's worked with. The O'Mardian Odyssey. This is their best of, basically, that the two of them had done up to that point, 1982. Lee Ritenour, Earth Run. Not nearly as cool as it looks. It's very poppy. I mean, look, it looks like he's ready to rock out with that synth guitar. That looked pretty promising to me, you know. I'm thinking that looks like jazz fusion, you know. Digital Master sounds great, you know. It's just real poppy. It's got, on If I'm Dreaming, it's got Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire singing on it. This was made for the first Earth Run. I don't know, was there a second? I don't know. The Mills Brothers. Now there's a clever title. My Shy Violet. even though melodies often come from emotions of sadness, this instead is a very fun album, and every track makes a great single on its own. Of course, I picked it out for the cover as well as the title, as much as the old racetrack song. Of course, it wouldn't have occurred to me that it was about gambling on horse races. The Mills Brothers, My Shy Violet. Love that art. Phil Driscoll, Instrument of Praise, 1986. It's around the time my brother would have been first chair in junior high, senior high, trumpet. And Chuck Mangione and Phil Driscoll were putting out these albums around that time. And my brother aspired to do the same until his accident. But this is real good trumpet praise music. If you like Chuck Mangione, it's kind of like that for the most part. I love that album. His Christmas stuff, really good music. Matthew Ward, Toward Eternity, 1979. This guy kind of helped a little make it easier for my parents to handle my long hair at the time. At least that's how it seemed anyway. Because even though this dude had really seriously long hair, it's 1979, he was still clearly singing the praises of God, no matter what was going on in the world. He sang with his sisters in the second chapter of Acts, and there's a lot of Phil Keaggy and Keith Green and his sister wrote some music, but this is for the most part his voice. So it's a solo album instead of second chapter of Acts, even though it sounds somewhat like second chapter of Acts overall. It just rocks a little bit harder because he sings a little bit more deliberately, I'd say. So it's good stuff, good album. Ernie and Bert, 1972. Because Ernie and Bert, actually, they've always been kind of close to me in a way because I became an Elmo fan forever. But my brother's name is Bert, and so Sesame Street always stuck with me. This is an educational activity record. It's has activities on here. Has kids learning basics like even how to make music using household items. This is in pretty bad shape, but until I get a better copy for whatever reason, that's just Ernie and Bert. On the Move, the Chevrolet 1970s. Now half of this is Dionne Warwick, and that's a good thing. It's what you'd be listening to on the radio in your new 70s Chevrolet. That's cool. It's got Glenn Campbell, Burt Bacharach, pretty good. But Dionne Warwick has good stuff on here. Crappy cover, but back cover's pretty awesome.
Introducing our tough one, the 1970 Chevelle SS396. It's a great performer, except for one thing. No one gives it a chance to perform. Not that we can blame them. After all, there's a lot to admire about the new Chevelle SS396.
Your car?
Hey, what's that?
A no-nonsense cowl induction hood you can order that actually feeds in extra air when you accelerate. functional hood pins.
Bobby pin.
No, these aren't Bobby pin hood pins, baby, and they're for real hood pins. Yeah. Hey, 2 pipes. Gun it for me, will you, buddy? Oh, now, come on.
These are belted fiberglass tires, aren't they?
Consider this fair warning. When you order your Chevelle SS 396 at your Chevy dealer's sports department, expect to draw a crowd, no matter where you take it.
All right. Pat Travers, Making Magic. Now, this album wants to be great, and it's decent. What makes it a good album is the great guitar solos, making good music better. I want it to be magnificent, you know, rock and roll. Just makes me want to listen to Frank Moreno, though. Pat Travers making music. Red Ryder, Don't Fight It. Red Ryder, known for one of my favorite songs of the time, 1981, Lunatic Fringe. I don't think they're known for anything on this album. So it's for Red Ryder fans. Bryan Adams, Jackson Browne, that kind of thing. But go when that came out, or around what time that came out with that airbrushing artwork. It's got a car on it, cool. The Yellow Jackets, Mirage à Trois, 1983. This is the height of my floor plan drawing days. When I first kind of became a night owl, listening to the jazz fusion programming on KOCC in Edmond, Oklahoma, would have been listening to this kind of stuff. There are vocals on one track by Bruce Hornsby and a range of other vocalists. Yellow Jackets, Mirage à Trois. And LTD, Love, Togetherness, Devotion. This is actually Togetherness by LTD. 5 dudes from Greensboro, North Carolina, buy a '56 Chevy and move to Harlem, New York, and then move on over to Los Angeles. Get signed to A&M and become LTD. It's a good, real good soul, R&B, and funk. And look at that airbrushing. Is that cool or what? So, cool album by LTD. Cheerwine. One of this was actually bottled in 1917. I don't think so. Pure cane sugar. Good stuff. The OJs, the year 2000. R&B, soul, disco, known for Love Train. It's always interesting to read about, see movies, and hear something like the first track, title track, the year 2000, where they ask something like, how will things be in the year 2000? You know, will we have ended poverty and all, starvation and things like that? Hey, it's 17 years later, just about, and it's good to realize that time moves quickly, so don't waste time. Someone out there needs you. Some good, solid soul R&B funk. The OJ is the year 2000. Rail, 1980. All the fringed and beaded leather is all ending up in the thrift stores. Airegin is ushering in a new widespread national improvement people are ready to get up, get out, and have a good time. And these guys are nothing but ready to rock. I mean, with lines like, hello, the very first track, hello, all you people, hope you're feeling good, gonna give you a show, like you knew we would, yeah. Hilarious. But, I mean, look at this. These guys are ready to rock. You know they're headed for the top. They started in 1970 in high school, and this is their second of 2 LPs. Arrival. Sounds like a first LP name. Things were happening for these guys. Actually, there's good reason for a fan of this style of rock to like this, as there's a lot of variance in the songwriting. It's played well, and you know, hey, Ronnie Montrose can't be wrong. Playing with these guys for a while, and Van Halen took them out on an extended tour with them. They thought they were pretty great. It's actually a good, solid album. Straight up rock and roll. I don't know when this came out. 1983, I think. Rail, Arrival. Next one up. Don Williams, Cafe Carolina. Always smooth, always warm. True country here. Not ruined by all the bubble gum and glitter. Country ain't always about crying in your beer about your lost dog. In fact, whoever owned this before had it marked Q up. That's the thing about love. I really like I'll Never Need Another You, where he talks about his hat and boots wearing out and needing replaced, but I'll never need another you. In fact, he ends the lines, I was trying to think, he ends the lines, I'll be faithful to you, which is kind of a mellow piano song to end the album out with. Some good country here, real country, not super twangy, but not poppy at all. Just real good, smooth country music. Don Williams, Cafe Carolina. Weather Report, Tail Spinnin. Often played alongside other more jazz fusion groups, despite, or maybe because of their more free-form style, where each instrument, whether it be the keys or the bass or the sax or percussion, all have equal focus and carry equal weight. It's funky, very mellow, very jazzy. Weather Report, Tail Spinning. It's a good place to start with this. I don't want to say smooth jazz. I like to me, a little bit more fusion, jazz fusion. It's a good place to start for that Weather Report. Next one, I don't think anybody's heard of these guys or seen this album, but it's Village People, Cruisin'. Slowly getting all my Village People albums. I don't think I had this one already, but this is a decent copy of this one. Most people don't want this to be what it is. It's good Casablanca. It actually has the original. It's in a good sleeve. It has a Casablanca, the original Casablanca inner sleeve. But everyone knows YMCA, and I'd like to think Cruisin' is about cruising. I think only the Indian and the GI are the only ones going now. They've had a lot of turmoil over the years. But anyway, fun. It's disco, right? Everybody loves disco. On Casablanca. Bolero, Though it was written for a ballet, a 1928 ballet, it's La Valse. It's got 3 tracks on here, and Bolero and La Valse are on side 2. So on these older records, it's kind of cool to have this extra info on there. But it's on that track with also where images of dance really sweep through your mind. Of course, I picked this up because I love Bolero. Everyone loves a song with crescendo, yet it's as fascinating as it's funny that it's a song that builds and builds and builds for 17 minutes and then just stops. It's kind of like what life on Earth seems like sometimes. But anyway, it's like the last one I picked up recently. I just love that cover. Awesome. And this is a pretty old copy, which a lot of these are, which is kind of cool. This is 1954 maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, Bolero by Charles Munch, Boston Symphony Orchestra. I think he was French or German conductor. Moved to New York, I think, or Boston. But anyway, this is a good rendition of Bolero. Should I try to say his name? All these years, I've never really tried to figure out how to say his name right. Andreas Vollenweider. I always said Vollenweider. Andreas Vollenweider. This album came out in 1984, White Winds. Ended up being a big part of my mission time in Colorado. If you can imagine living in the mountains of Colorado, what you might want to listen to while you're up there. He plays an electro-acoustic harp, which gives him a quite unique sound, often more associated with New Age. His music is very therapeutic. A lot of people write to him and tell him how much his music has helped them therapeutically. If you can't afford a nice stereo to listen to this kind of thing, it's very airy, very, don't think harp music. It's harp music, but it's very rich and airy. But if you can't afford a nice stereo to listen to, get a good pair of headphones, like these Grados, or to start with. I've had these probably just about as long to get those. That's I think my second or third copy of that. It's a good copy. So anyone is wanting to hear that, interested in that, or doesn't have that copy yet, let me know. Anyway, Manhattan Transfer Live. This is an accidental duplicate. It's going to take me a while to get everything into Discogs. But this is a good, clean copy. Not perfect, but it's a good, clean copy. Sounds good. Got quite a few tracks on here. 1978. This is the last recording with Lorelei. And Janice said she didn't like this cover, but I think it's kind of cool. It's better than this one on this live album. This looks like, I'm sure, just 1986. I was going to guess 87, thinking Live in Tokyo or something. Which reminds me of a cover I did for my brother's group, JR&B. It wasn't even this cool, but this is kind of a long recording. This one shows more swing compared to the variety on the other live album, the '78 release. Manhattan Transfer Live. I don't know how many live albums they have. And Manhattan Transfer Vocalese, 1985. No wonder everyone loved this album in the time as much as Michael Jackson's Thriller, because it was produced, Michael Jackson's Thriller album, because it was produced so sweet and bright. It's a fun sounding album because of its Vocalese method, where the lyrics are added to these older jazz songs in a very syllabic and rhythmic manner. You can see John Hendricks on there in the back with them, who wrote the lyrics for these, featuring the lyrics of John Hendricks, these classic jazz songs. And there's a lot of, it lists a lot of people on, different people that you'd probably recognize, that it's either their music or played on this album. Manhattan Transfer Vocalese. Now this is one of my, I'll wrap up with one of my favorite artists here, Jean-Luc Ponty. Who doesn't know Jean-Luc Ponty? Who doesn't love Jean-Luc Ponty? I've got to see this guy, man, it's maybe been 10 years ago, and every once in a while I keep looking to see if he's coming back. A Taste for Passion. It may just be that I usually say Pat Metheny is my favorite artist because I have much more of Pat Metheny's album, Pat Metheny Group, than Jean-Luc Ponty, but these truly are must-have albums. These are duplicates, so if you don't have any of them, these are pretty good copies. I think all the vinyl's real good on here. Jean-Luc Ponty, Imaginary Voyage. It's an album like A Taste Like Passion, though, that really defined jazz for me. Though I do like other styles of jazz, this jazz fusion became a huge part of my life. Whether I was out on a long bike ride or home drawing all night, though relaxing. He's not really necessarily sleeping music. I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to put you to sleep there necessarily. It's a pretty rad looking violin. There's some near metal guitar playing on some of these albums. Let alone, he plays his violin nearly the same. But if you get just one Jean-Luc Ponty album, should be this Enigmatic Ocean album. This is, to me, one of the greatest albums ever written, ever made. This is gold. This album, it's so cohesive as a whole, and it does take you on a perfect journey. It's got a couple songs on, some of the songs on here are like in 3 parts and everything, so it's like taking you on a journey. And bonus, there's Alan Holdsworth on guitar. But this is one of my all-time favorite albums, and this is, like I said, a duplicate. It's a good copy of it. It sounds real good. So if anybody needs to check out some Jean-Luc Ponty, has a crappy copy or wants to have one of the greater albums ever made, let me know. But Jean-Luc Ponty, Enigmatic Ocean. So that's all I've got for you. Thanks for hanging out for this one. I'll have something probably completely different next time. So until next time, Steve Assault Magazine. I'll check you later. Right on, right on.